We have many needs as a community. We have a need for protection, Lord. We have a need for safety and security. Lord. We have a need for courage, strong leadership, Lord, in uncertain days. And so that's what we pray for, Lord. I pray that you'd elevate these men. You've given them skills and abilities. Allow them, Father, together, collectively, to be even more capable of solving problems than they would be individually. Father, I pray that those of us who've been asked to come alongside would find the responsibility important and something that is needed for our community. Help us, Lord, and give us the ability to do what we need to do to give guidance and counsel. Father, thank you for those who are attending. I pray, Father, that you'll give them a settled peace, Lord, about what they have to say to the board. And I pray, Father, that we'll leave out of here today knowing that we are serving our community and serving you with all of our heart in Christ's name.
Amen. Thank you, Craig. Public comment. First up, we have Mr. Carl Franco.
Good
Morning.
Couple of things. I'm going to begin with Jefferson.
Great.
Begin with renovating the old Chancery building. Based on
How you doing this morning, Carl?
doing fine, I think.
Me too. Thanks. I mean, I'll let you know too.
Based on the last meeting, the board direction, I think, we looked at this and came up with 3 possible options for moving forward to reduce the cost. And that's what you see before you. I just wanted to kind of get your input on this before we did anything. First option, what we're trying to do, our latest estimates are somewhere around 900,000 or a little bit more, and my understanding is we need to try and get down to the 600,000 range. So the first option would be to basically leave the bottom floor as is, and let the election commission and the coroner just move into those spaces as they are without any improvements whatsoever. Now, there's more than adequate space to do that. Function-wise, it may not be as good as what we were looking at if we renovated it, but there's more than adequate space. And that would save somewhere, according to our estimate, using the same figures, $225,000, $250,000. A second option would be to use, if possible, the county's own forces and even trustees from the sheriff's department, since he does have, I'm familiar with some of his expertise there, to take and redo that bottom floor as we've got drawn. But that's not gonna save but probably maybe $150,000. It won't save as much because you'd still have the materials and some labor. And the third option would be to leave the lower floor basement as it is, except, again, use the county's forces and some of the trustees, if possible, to demo the platform that's there now, and then to just do finishes, paint, flooring, carpet. And I think, not counting labor, you could probably do that for just $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 of material expenses. So that's the options that we see right now for getting close to this $600,000. And that's basically leaving all the improvement upstairs as planned, except for we wouldn't be doing any of the coroner space. And that's going to say it would be downstairs. So, I mean, that's and looking at this, those seem to be our best ways to try and cut money out of this. There's just no way we can make major improvements to downstairs and stay within that $600,000 range.
Well, why were we doing so much improvement downstairs? I mean, it looks like it is what we looked at.
Well, when we met with the election commissioners' representatives, it was things that they felt were needed. And so,
I mean, such as, removal of some walls or something?
yeah, we were going to add an office. We were going to add an office altogether, so it'd be 5, one for each. Then we were going to improve the restrooms. That was a major expense because they were going to use that court area now as a training area. So they were going to have up to 100 people, possibly more, down in there. And so once you do that and you start making improvements, that throws you into a different code category. And then we were gonna have to do some fire rating things, all to
So
do
how
that.
is the restroom in the downstairs currently?
There's two, one's male and one's female, I think, and I can't remember exactly, Jay, but I think they're two holers, if I remember correctly. They don't, I'm not sure they meet ADA completely, but that was one reason for doing that, plus we had to increase the size. But there's two restrooms down there currently, two separate restrooms.
Well, if we don't do this, if they don't have enough room to do training there, I mean, what do they do? They're training wherever now, correct?
At
They
the,
train at DOC.
yeah,
That's my recollection.
Well,
either there or they trained once at the other shelter.
well, I guess that I was told one of them, they rent on some building themselves to do a training. I don't know why they do that. They got EOC.
I don't know what the coordination of the courthouse schedules are for justice court, but, we got two large.
Your mic's not on.
We've got two large.
You're still in.
He got turned.
Battery might be dead.
Must be. That's all right. You can go ahead. I mean,
We've got two large courtrooms downstairs, one will seat 200, the other one will seat about 85. So, even in the large one, space apart, you could probably accommodate
Yeah, yeah.
people. I'm not.
the one downstairs was how it seats. How many?
Well, the large one seats 200, will seat 200. The
Oh.
other one will seat 82. So,
Plenty.
again,
I
that's an
don't think,
administrative.
and I'm not an election commissioner, but I don't think when we have the large crowds of 100, it's very effective. They don't learn. I'm getting off into something else,
Like a
but it's just
classroom.
not,
Yeah.
it's not effective anyhow to have 100 of them in there when you're trying to have some one-on-one type training, and that's what happened in the last problems.
You may be that makes sense to me. I'm just going by what we were asked to
Yeah,
provide,
yeah,
and,
that's a different, yeah.
and another thing was, they were interested in possibly moving the voting machines over to those two large areas where there were files stored, they're empty now. There's gonna be some power that would need to be added to do that, to charge them, but
We could still do that.
there are, yeah, there are I guess my point is, there are things that the county's own forces probably could do without us getting involved. When we get involved, it opens up a whole nother door of requirements.
So where are we at on the upstairs?
We're ready, if we go forward with this, we're ready to put it out for bids in the
Do we
next
have
year.
an estimated cost on the upstairs?
Yeah, it's about 600, it's close to 600,000.
Why not even ask?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. What are you
Wait a
doing with
minute,
the
we
old
cut
courtroom?
out one part of it though.
Yeah, well, I have not gone back and adjusted that, but it's also been, when our last estimate was done about 2-3 months ago, but we're not using what was Judge Grant's old courtroom. The other courtroom is turned into Renee's community development. And then E911 addressing is in where the Chancery offices were. We're redoing the, where,
Renee's office was gonna be next to the corner,
Across the hall.
from the
Yeah.
corner.
but we would not be, you're right, we can leave the Judge's Grant's chambers, old chambers as is, because that's what was gonna be renovated into the coroner's suite. So we can go back and make those changes and
It's gonna
say,
need to be cleaned out, I would think. At some point, our forces might could do it, but it's obviously got to be cleaned out. It can't stay like that.
well, anything, obviously, that the county's own forces could do, and we don't bid in a contract and have the contractor's profit overhead and everything else, is gonna save money. We're trying to get all this done at one time.
You're not planning on doing anything to you?
To the
No,
co-
no,
to-
the old Judge Grant's whole room.
Well, we were originally, but
Right.
now, trying to get to this money, we're not. Now, we may can do some kind of alternate and see what kind of cost comes
The
in.
only problem with that is gonna be, like I said, down the road, it's gonna be something. And if we don't, it's gonna be a lot more expensive to do something to it later.
Well,
But I
that's
mean,
true.
anything needs to be cleaned out, but I don't know why we couldn't do that. Paint the walls or whatever, I guess.
Well, they could. There is room for future expansion in those places,
Yeah.
but you're right. It's cheaper to do it all at one time, for sure. But those are the three options that we've come up with. I mean, I'm open to any other suggestions or modifications of any
I
of
know
those
we're ready to
options.
get moving. What if we got Tater to, go meet with the folks and see if we couldn't find out what we could get done as far as demolition on our own, help save some money, or either other work, downstairs.
Him and Mike and Brian with the trustees,
What's
and
Mike
you,
got to do with
well,
that?
Mike has some people that can help.
No,
You don't think so?
uh-uh.
They dang sure built a building out there for about half what everybody else can build it for.
Well, I hope he's got his guys doing something.
Well,
to
we're
help.
fixing to be in the
Wintertime
winter.
is gonna
It's
be
fixing to be
here.
winter, and they're not gonna be able to be
Okay.
doing a lot.
If he has availability, yeah, I think that's a good idea, but I wouldn't go and lock him down and saying this is what you're gonna do. But
Yeah,
I mean,
I
like
think it's a good
anything.
idea.
Ask
Let's just see
him. I
what
mean,
we
just
can do.
ask him what they might
I
help
think the
with.
simplest and cleanest thing, and this is why we were going this way, was bidding the upstairs and separating it from the downstairs. Because when you start having crossover, people start pointing fingers at who did what, and it's a never-ending thing. We even got a little bit of that on the courthouse with the furniture. We had a couple of people, one or two pieces of furniture damaged, and nobody wants to claim who did that. Was it the installer, or was it the contractor, or was it somebody else? So it's just,
Well, the only difference is, the only thing I think we're really talking about on upstairs that I'm thinking of would be the cleaning out Judge Grant's office, and I don't see, that wouldn't be a
no,
problem.
we can separate, we can certainly
Yeah.
define that area on the drawings.
Right.
I agree with that.
I don't
That's
think
talking
we,
about
huh?
any of the, there's demolition's gotta be done, not walls has to be knocked out. If we can do some of that to save some money going forward without having to pay a contractor,
Yeah, he's right. You're gonna need to then say, okay, we're gonna demo these walls and get that done, then let the contractor come in, because if you got them both trying to work at the same time, it's gonna be.
Yeah, that would be the only way that would work. We just go back and show the walls already moved, removed.
Right,
yeah.
That would be the simplest way to do that.
right.
I mean, obviously, after we got finished, I'm sure they wanna go in and look at the situation, what was left.
Yeah, we would need to go back and document what was left then, if that's the way y'all choose to go.
And it could be that there's nothing they could do,
You may-
so,
And I will tell you, the cost estimates that we're seeing have been all over the place. We've had people contacting us looking for work. We got people telling us that the subs have got more work than they can handle. We're having some issues on getting a couple of things due to COVID. So I don't know, I really can't honestly tell you if you waited 3 months. At one time, I thought waiting out to the first of the year, there'd be a pent-up demand that would reduce the cost.
well, it may not be a bad idea for us to wait, just because of lumber costs.
Material, oh my
Well,
goodness.
Yeah, materials have gone up, especially wood, lumber. But I can't tell you that, you're gonna see any reduction after the first of the year or not. And election's gonna figure into that some way, who knows? Good or bad. But that's where we're at, and I don't necessarily need, we're at a point where we're just on hold for that until we can move forward to whatever y'all want us to do.
Can the demolition go ahead and start on the walls we know gonna have to come down and go ahead?
Yeah,
and
there
get
would be no
those?
reason why that couldn't be done.
Cause it's gonna have to happen.
Yeah. If that's the wishes of the board, yeah.
Well, that's why I was suggesting for our folks to go
Yeah, go ahead
meet
and let's
with them,
get something.
see what they
I
could
mean, if we
do.
wait first of the year still to move forward on.
That's right.
We've got a demolition drawing, we would need to provide them with that,
Right.
so they know which walls.
I think we could put together a team to do the demolition and clean up. And, I mean, if, I brought up Mike, and some of y'all thought that was funny, but you got to haul, somebody's gotta haul the demolition
Yeah.
debris away.
Right.
And we happen to have some dump trucks.
Put a trailer right
Work out
there,
great.
or put it on.
Anyhow, I think we could all work together and
Yep.
get it done.
Well, we can meet with
Absolutely.
whoever, with the county, and get the demolition drawings and review what that would entail.
All right.
All right.
So that's.
Can I ask you guys to help Carl, to help the staff for planning purposes? Do you have a strong opinion about option 1, 2, or 3? It seems to me that
Three.
option 3 is the one that fits.
Yep.
So if I could get you guys to indicate clearly to your architect that we want to go with option 3, but we want to see how much of the demolition activity our county forces can undertake and complete before they go to bid on the upstairs.
On the lower level, I mean, there might have to be toilets and sinks and something redone on some of those bathrooms.
Well, I would think again, our staff ought to be able to take care of that.
I would think
Yeah.
so too.
Yeah, so I'm really just more focusing on the upstairs at this point because that's where your architect is gonna need to be involved with respect to construction activity and getting a proposal together and getting it out to bid. So, my thought would be that if our forces can handle the downstairs work, that can be done at the appropriate time. But for the purposes of this decision today, we're talking about the upstairs only, and we're talking about demolition being done by our guys, and then Carl needs to go to bid.
That's right.
Okay, everybody clear on that? I'd like to see us make that declaration, if I could get you guys to add that to the agenda and make a motion, if that's what we're doing, that would be helpful.
Thank you. I meant to, I should have said that. We need that because we need to still go to the city of Brandon and let them know exactly what is going on there.
Right.
Because, they may have some comments they want to, and I need to be specific with them what's gonna be done.
All right. Motion to add this, to the agenda,
Motion
the
by
options
Steve to add this item.
for renovation.
Second.
Second by the other ones.
All right.
Second by Brad, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Motion, I make a motion that we go with option 3, which would, well, it's written out here, removing walls and things like that on the lower level would be, left up to the county and its resources.
And
Okay,
Steve,
second.
on the upper level work, the county resources will also be responsible for demolition in accordance with the architect's demolition plan, if possible,
Yeah.
okay?
Right.
And the architect is authorized to proceed with a bid notice and a bid package upon completion of the demolition activity, okay? So that would be the motion.
That'd be my motion.
All right, motion by Steve,
Second.
second by Jared, any discussion? Now, the bid notice, that's no specific date yet, right?
That's correct.
Okay, all right. No discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Okay, on the other small project, completion of the courthouse,
What year we in?
they have, I know you're tired of hearing this, they have made progress. We actually had our mechanical and electrical engineers out there this week to back check their punch list items to make sure they completed those, and they've completed 97% of them. They still have a couple of minor items. And actually, they were asking us to go through and do the back check on the interior punch list items. We're planning on doing that next week. And they're out there installing the exterior stair. The two major items that they have left is the exterior stair from the back parking lot and the grill on the front of the building at the lobby to block the sunlight. And they were supposed to have gotten that done, started last weekend. Again, they're still having an issue with their subcontractor getting him on site. However, it's the same one doing the stair at the rear, so he is working on that. But I would say still a couple more weeks, and it's mostly, I know y'all tired of hearing this, minor items at this point.
We'll be ready for this first year. Good deal.
What
That's-
about North Street? Are they gonna get that ready? for
Well, they've
that?
done the curve and they've done the compaction, but and to be honest with you, Brad, there were some negotiations with the county on that, and I was kinda outside the loop on that about the paving of that. I don't know, I have to check on that to see. But I did go out there the last weekend and check to see if they'd finished the curves and getting in the base that they were supposed to do.
We
and I
need to
might-
get that knocked out before winter time.
Yeah,
so we can get
it's
that
not-
rolling.
It's not that much. There is one thing that's come up though. The city has requested, or actually, that's my phone. I got little thing going on at the house, but has requested that we add 12 signs in the building for emergency egress. You know, you are here, here's the egress. In order to do that to where it's appropriate, I think they're gonna cost about $100 each, $1,200. And I don't know if the county would rather, we can get it designed, we've actually done the drawings for them. I don't know if the county wants to do that outside of the contractor, or if you wanna, just see if we can't find somebody to put that up.
Yeah, I mean, is it, I guess they're electricals when the power goes
No,
off?
no, it's just it's a plaque, if you've seen them before, Jay, it's just on the wall. You are here.
To show where the exit
That's right,
is.
show where you're at, and they want 12 of them, 6 on each floor.
Now all that is putting a screw in to the.
Yeah, or either you can do it actually with Velcro, just something,
Something
but,
stick to the wall.
yeah, but it needs to be more than just a piece of paper, you know, you see
Yeah, I
sometimes
think
in schools.
hopefully we can handle that.
Yeah, well, I can get you, I can get the, we've done the drawings, and we were gonna cover them with some piece of plastic or something, so they are appropriate for the courthouse, not just a piece of paper. And then, other than that, we're moving forward on the misdemeanor edition, and I think that completes it, unless y'all got any other questions.
Hey, Carl, on the agenda later down the line, Laura's got on here for $476,000 paid. What is that payment right there?
That's for work that was done 2 months ago.
So that's still not the final payment.
No, that will still leave, if you paid that still leaves $1,344,470 in the contract,
Okay.
which is, in our opinion, is, you know, like 3
What's
times
that?
what the original punch list
This is
was.
what we denied paying
Yes, sir.
sometime
That
ago.
is
Yeah,
correct.
so the 1.3 that's still left out there, is that saying that they're, I'm kind of reading through it and scanning it real fast, but they have around 900,000 left to be paid, or is that straight retainer fees?
No, they have about 900,000 is the retainage out of that 1.3 million, so they have about $400,000, not counting retainage.
Okay, I got you. So they still owe that money.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
so we're still holding $1 million basically.
over $1 million. If you approve this payment right now, you're holding almost 1.8
Six,
million.
yeah, okay, all right.
Carl, what is the date of the pay application that's represented here, the pay app number 38?
He signed it on the 20th of August, I think.
20th of August. And
The contract says the
do you
county
remember
has,
what date you guys executed indicating that it was appropriate to pay?
we signed it probably on August 21st or 22nd.
Okay, well, then shortly thereafter.
Yeah, yeah.
And was submitted to the county for the early September date, is that correct?
Yes,
All right.
yeah.
So, by law, guys, you have 60 days, well, not by law, by contract, by the contract itself, you have 60 days to pay a pay application or to indicate why you're not paying it. In other words, you don't even have to consider it for 60 days. So, if it was submitted to us on the 20th of August, then roughly the 20th of October would be
It's only
your time frame of
5
your
days.
60 days. I only mention that from the standpoint that we sit here and we're still struggling to get the punch list properly attended to. You've heard Carl's report about that, but I did want to make you aware that if you're thinking that you want to continue to deny payout number 38, we're really out of time to do that. We would need to do it today if it's going to be paid. I didn't want you to think just delaying for the sake of delay. It would put us in a situation where the contract provisions could be enforced against us. Just want to make you aware of it.
Hey, so earlier you was talking about they're 97% complete, but that was on the outside. How much of the inside? is complete?
I think they're more, I think they're close to 97 on the inside, Jay. We just hadn't done our check. The things on the inside, for the most part, were touch-up paint,
Yeah.
correct some of this. Now, the only other thing, we were not pleased with the look of the acoustical panels in the courtrooms. Most people don't even notice it, but they were gonna redo those panels, and they were waiting on the material to do that. If you look closely, there's a slight variation between the panel colors, because it was running two different dye lots apparently.
I got you.
Carl, do you mind also, just this week, I know today's Thursday, but maybe by tomorrow, just have the contractor follow back up with Larry and the judges, just to be sure that something hadn't been, so we can kind of I need to keep them up to speed weekly on the problems that are going on. They're having to run it, daily operations with court hearings and all kind of stuff like that over there. But if we could get that contractor to weekly check in with Larry and the judges to be sure everything is.
I will get him to do that. He's been sending me stuff, and I actually last week we had the lighting subcontractors from Atlanta there to correct, these lights going off because of the energy code and
Timer
occupancy.
stuff,
Since,
yeah.
So my understanding, and Larry and David Morrow were there for that. That's all been corrected.
Okay.
But we do try and touch base, and they're good. David especially is good about anytime they got an issue on the door. One of the door locks going to the south.
What about those blinds? I know our deputies that sit there just get
Well,
fried.
that's what they
on the-
just, for some reason, they hadn't been able to get the sub to get it installed. They were supposed to
that's
start
screen
installing them
you're
Yeah.
last
So
week.
and what I'm saying is, we got deputies sitting there and they just get cooked every single day right there, looking directly into that morning sunrise area of it. And
Well, that screen is supposed to take care of that. That's,
we just need it up, I guess
Yeah,
is the thing.
I-
I mean,
I
I know
agree.
we got a plan for it,
That's
but
what he said.
every day those guys, I mean, they almost have to start. We got to start buying sunscreen for those. They're tan, beautiful, golden brown skin, but we've got
Well,
to.
that is-
we
that
got to
is-
get that fixed for those guys.
the issue with that, and I think I said, is for some reason they're having trouble getting the sub, and they've even told them that Albritton will supplement them with their own forces, but they got to get the materials here to do that. And
It's just miserable to sit right there at their office, not their office, but their desk, and to maintain it, and they're just blinded. I mean, it's just they're soaking wet with sweat and everything else.
no, I've been down there. I've
Yeah, it's
I've
rough.
had meetings with them on that, and
So let's just see if we can maybe just make another call out to try to get some blinds up for those guys.
I'll do that today.
Hey, and while you're here, Carl, I want, Mike, can you come up here and just tell us a little bit about our responsibility on North Street? While Carl's here, and what Albritton's responsibility?
Tell you a little bit what I know. So basically, we put the inlets in. I know Albritton put the curbs in. But Tim and myself has directed Albritton to finish up and put it like it's supposed to be. I mean, the plan showed not us overlaying it. They were supposed to patch the road back like it wasn't gonna be overlaid. I think where the hangup is Albritton knows we're gonna overlay it, so they're trying to push off, but there ain't been no, I just wanna clear the air, there ain't been no negotiation between the county and Albritton about nobody do anything different besides what the plans it showed.
And the plans doesn't call for crush
rock
rock going in the cracks before we overlay this.
That's right.
They supposed to get with,
They're supposed to put
Add
it back,
camp or
supposed to put it
asphalt.
back to the level it is, base it in. If they
To the level it is.
Level it was.
Level it was.
Oh,
Was.
I was gonna
I
say.
mean, if they dug out and
It is.
asphalt, they supposed to base it back in, put it back in.
Provide the base course.
Right.
You got,
Like
and
it
we got
needs to be in
pictures
those
of
areas.
what it was before.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've all got, because that came up with the city of Brandon, they wanted either a bond or, I don't remember, it's been 3 years
Yeah, I
ago.
think we talked about, Brandon wants to bond it, and we said, we would take care of that, but, Albritton needs to get it back.
So
to
Carl,
where it
could you
was.
get with him?
I will get with him,
Get that
yeah,
settled?
I'll send him
All right.
something today.
All right. One other thing, the plants, have those been replaced yet?
Some of them have, not all of them, that's part of the outside that we're still waiting on. Some of them were dead, some of them were just dormant, but we instruct them to remove even the ones that were dormant.
All right, because they're not gonna grow down.
Well, no, they're not, but the way the specifications read, they're supposed to provide healthy living plants, not even dormant, and,
All
so,
right.
hey, and something else, I've had a few people that live on North Street and people traveling. Those plants, as they grow right there at that sign, it's gonna be in another year, you're not even gonna see that sign.
the low monument sign, yeah, we've talked to them
That
about
either,
that.
I mean, something's either, they're gonna plant some short bushes or,
Well, I think we're gonna have them
Raise the
adjust that
sign.
sign is what they're
Raise
supposed
it
to do,
up or
yeah. I'm not sure we've had to talk about that. I'm not sure it's exactly done the way it was supposed to be.
okay.
All right, Carl, thank you for coming today.
Thank you.
Okay, next on our agenda, we have a couple of guys, haven't seen in a while. Come on up, Paul, guy.
The Pays Bishop's going today.
Click on it.
Yeah.
I did not.
Well, it's that time of the year again. What we did here is put you together the package as we always do that y'all can look through at your leisure, and any questions you have, call me or Paul, either one. We can meet with you, we can talk to you on the phone, whatever. But for lack of better words, we kind of gave you a cheat sheet showing the changes and stuff, just kind of streamline it and make sure that we were all on the same page.
Thank you, Mr. Warren.
And remember, Miss Laura, did she give you one?
No, sir, she's always.
Well, we can left a few with her. But anyway, we're just gonna go over, kinda hit the
High
big
notes.
changes, high notes, whatever you will. And any questions you have, just stop us, we'll talk about it any time.
And this is the part, guys, where we work with the county as a consultant, assisting you guys with gathering the information, putting it together in a format so that agents can make a bid on your insurance. And this is for the property, your automobile, the volunteer fire department, and the general liability.
I think mine's got a mistake on it. It says up at like $1 million, right? I think mine's got a typo on it.
Well, I was just sitting here
Well-
listening to your architect, I thought insurance is cheap.
Honestly speaking, though, just looking at the property section there at the top, we added $21 million in values to the overall schedule of
Is
values.
that including the new courthouse?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's why that went up, but the rate actually stayed very close to what it was expiring. So you're paying about 19 cents per $100 of $1,000, I'm sorry, of coverage, and you've got a 26% loss ratio. So it's great. It's a wonderful quote. It's a wonderful policy. We've also got equipment in there. We've got stoplights covered. So there's a lot of things that are covered in that policy other than just property.
So what about the auto?
Well, we're going to that.
Yeah,
So that's the next one, and it was shopped out very vigorously. FCCI, who's the current carrier, was really the only one that came up with a quote. All the other ones said they didn't want to quote it.
Really?
Part of it's because of your claims, that we're having some claims, but also just the nature of what we do.
All right.
another big part of that, I think, was, if you'll remember, for the last 2 years, and the sheriff will know, is FCCI has responded to the blue light law.
claims.
Okay, well, Travelers and One Beacon, these other companies will not do that at all. And what we're talking about is, like, they don't have to respond if a deputy's.
If you have an accident when they're en route to a call.
But FCCI, and this has been several years, has responded to those. And it naturally has made the sheriff's department look better.
Well, I think if they're going to a call, a bad call or something like that, and it's somebody, that's what this law was made for.
Yeah.
My problem was, if they pull over at a range and they're leaving, they back into a car, our insurance company will pay for it. And I feel like that we should pay for, a minor accident like that, but now, they won't do that, right?
No, they won't. And I will tell y'all, this, and, for the different, whatever type of business it is, if that is something that y'all was to choose to do so, and you can have a limit or whatever, I will kind of handle that for you. I mean, I handle that for a lot of my clients that, nobody got hurt. And I mean, naturally,
You're
if
just
it's a
talking-
liability claim or something, you go open up a can of worms. But if they just backed into, your wife's car,
So you'll settle it for us?
I'll settle it for you, write a check, get approval from everybody, and then you can pay risk management back, however y'all want to do that. And I'm not saying there's very few things I'm good at, and there's very fewer that Paul will brag on me about, but I can do this pretty good.
Well, I guess.
He can talk.
Really, it's no lose situation for us, cause he writes a check and then we get turned, we won't
Just
pay
don't
it,
pay
right?
it.
I mean,
That's normally what happens to me. No, but I mean, that's something that we can talk about, and I can actually get with the sheriff about, and then we can make sure y'all are all on board with it, or whatever the case is. But that is another alternative. But it's like I called the sheriff and told him, because I didn't want him to be sort of blindsided, because this affects him naturally as much as anybody or more. and they're not gonna do it. I mean,
No.
they've tried it, they won the business, they've had your business, but still, they're the most competitive. And another reason I think probably, truth be known, we didn't get another quote, is because they were like, they're not gonna leave from that anyway, and we're not gonna do it. Now, going forward, we all know that they're not gonna do it either, so that opens up the, you know. I did get another quote from one peak, and they were higher, they were over 400,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other change is that they are not going to cover uninsured motorists under your policy, which basically what that means is if you have an accident with another party that does not have insurance or is underinsured, then it would pay for bodily injury or property damage to the county. You've got workers' compensation in place to cover the employees. You've got physical damage coverage on the units that you want physical damage coverage on. But they're not going to cover uninsured motorists. And part of the problem with that is we've seen a rash of this, but let's say you have a guy in a truck, one of your employees, he hits or he's in an accident with somebody, it's the other person's fault, and they don't have insurance. Well, the workers' comp will respond. Your physical damage will respond if you have physical damage on the vehicle. But then we've been having a rash where the employees will also engage an attorney to sue under your uninsured motorist. So you end up having 3 claims under that one deal. Workers' comp, physical damage, and then uninsured motorist. And it's really, if you have the uninsured motorist, there's really nothing you can do. I mean, I think
And
What
Craig,
about a situation where, like, say, one of our deputies pick up someone in the back of a patrol car and have an accident?
well, that could be an issue there. They're not gonna cover that, though. They would not cover it. We asked and because they had covered it in the past, but they're not gonna offer that coverage this year.
Well, no wonder it's a little less.
Yeah, well, you got the same number of units.
It's up.
It's
No,
up
I'm talking
$30.
From other people,
Yeah,
other,
it's,
were the others gonna offer that?
no.
Oh, nobody would.
They're just, automobile insurance in Mississippi and countrywide is a problem. I mean, it just is.
And we're seeing people in your situation that chooses not to buy uninsured motors for that reason.
And it
'Cause see,
15 to 20 years ago, people didn't buy uninsured
that's
motors.
a stackable deal with $1 million the limit, but I mean, you could easily have $1 million claim on your loss runs that's gonna affect you greatly.
There's really little that you have to prove in that
I
situation.
didn't understand Jay's question to be precisely that. I think what Jay was asking was, are we covered if a rider in one of our units sues us?
Yeah,
That's a
general
negligence, that's a
liability
general
or-
negligence claim.
No,
It's gonna
it's
be covered under the auto
general
policy.
liability.
That's covered, Jay. That's covered under the
It's not
policy.
a-
If it's a rider and there is an accident that is the fault of a third party that is uninsured, what he's telling you is there is no UM. There is no uninsured motorist that rider, passenger, could effectively utilize against the third party tortfeasor. I'm giving y'all legal stuff. The UM part, we don't have coverage on.
All right.
Yeah, we're covered under GL, we're covered under auto liability. So anything that's our negligence, we got it.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. That's the biggest changes there. Now the price went up $30 on average per unit, but we swapped out a lot of older units with a lot of newer units. So in effect, we picked up some with physical damage. Basically, we're not covering anything that's older than 2012 model for physical damage. So we had several of those that weren't carrying physical damage that we swapped out for newer units that have physical damage. So that it was kind of a wash on that, but we are giving up those 2 lines of coverage that they had covered in the past. General liability is based off of our expenditures from the budget. It went up just a hair, but that's just because the expenditures went up $9 million. Volunteer fire department, that's a great, excellent quote that we got from these guys. Even though we got 300% loss ratio combined for the last 6 years, primarily due to one claim. But these guys, the price per unit went down $180. and we added, like 316,000 in property value. We added 12 new units to that policy. So that's really a great quote. And it covers, that exposure for property, general liability, auto, everything that you need to be covered for on volunteer fire. It's a unique program.
What were you fixing to say?
I was just over here explaining this, Laura.
Oh, I thought you was, but I mean, really going through the whole ordeal is the property values due to the increase. Even on the auto, even though they did away with the, one of the biggest things the sheriff liked, naturally, but they will not do it, as no one else will either. The newer units is the reason for the increase there. The rates are all pretty well in check.
Oh, we have to drive new cars.
We did, the current agents all did get optional quotes. I mean, they shopped it out,
Yeah,
they shopped
but
it out hard.
be sure for that camera, these are not brand new vehicles. These are newer
Newer used vehicles.
that
Yeah.
are coming from another law enforcement
Well,
agency.
they were new to the people that gave up the older unit.
Well,
Newer.
but we're not buying new vehicles.
Well, you have
They're new to
exactly
us.
the same number of units
Yep.
that this year that you had last year.
Good.
Good deal. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank
Appreciate
y'all.
your work, as
And
always.
again, if you go to looking through that, got any questions or anything, want to meet, call us, we'll do whatever you need.
All right.
You got tickets to Puckett football game?
Yeah, I'm going tomorrow.
Okay, moving on to our, old business. I have a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Motion by Jared,
Second.
second by Steve. All in favor say aye. Ayes have it. Consent agenda.
Motion.
Most approved.
Motion
Second.
approved by Steve, second by Jared. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Ayes have it. John Sullivan. I guess it done got a little warm. You're wearing long pants now.
A and B, I make a motion to approve.
Second.
I thought we were gonna talk about ice machine.
Okay, motion by Steve, second by Jared to approve A and B. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Item C. I didn't know if y'all want me reading it. Authority to pay the 2001 annual membership dues to IAAO for $380.
Most approved.
Second.
Motion by Jared, second by Steve. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Thank you, sir.
Come on up, Miss Bridget. Dun, dun, dun. Hello, Ralph.
So that's Ralph. I've been wanting to meet him.
These electronic ones first.
I've never come to this.
Every time.
Being sarcastic.
Huh?
He's being sarcastic.
I know.
All right, good morning.
Morning.
Our first bid this morning is the joint asphalt bids. And we received 4 electronic, I'm gonna go through those first. The first was from APAC, Mississippi. This is their Canton plant. They bid on the first one, item 4, $60 per ton. Item 5, $68 per ton. Item 6, $55 per ton. And item 7, $60.
Just flip the page.
Okay.
What was the 7? 60?
60. Yes, sir. The second bid is also from APAC, and this is their Jackson plant. Item 1, $92. Item 2, $93.65. I'm short. Item 3, $4. Item 4, $59.65. Item 5, $68. Item 6, $56. Item 7, $61. And they added an item cold mix, but we don't take bids on that. The next bid is from Dickerson and Bowen. Item 1, $90. Item 2, $90. Item 3, $3.50. Item 4, $56. Item 5, $61. Item 6, $56. And item 7, $57. 57. This bid is from AJ Construction. Item 1, $86. Item 2, $87. Item 3, $3. Item 4, $60. Item 5, $63. Item 6, $59. And item 7, $60.
Who was that?
AJ.
AJ Construction. The next bids are from W.E. Blaine and Sons. The first one, their plant is from the Byram office. Item 1, $99.50. Item 2, $99.50.
Boy, they're right on target.
Yeah, they don't want it.
Item 3, no bid. Item 4, $54.50.
54?
Yes, $54.50. Item 5, $60.50. Item 6, $54.50. Item 7, $57.50.
There's just some stuff.
And their Morton plant. Item 1, $106. Item 2, one.
Who's this?
This is still Blaine and
Oh,
Sons.
okay.
This is just the different location.
106.
Okay.
And item 2 is also 106. Item 4, 60. Item 5, 67. Item 6, 60. And item 7, 64.
There were none on 2 and 3, or did you call that out?
On 2, it was 106. Item
Okay.
3, they didn't bid.
106?
Yes, sir. This bid is from J&L Enterprises. Item 1, $85. Item 2, $89.75.
That's it?
Yes, that's it on that one. Next bid is from AdCamp. Item 1, $81. Item 2, $83. Item 3, $3. Item 4, $55. Item 5, $56. Yeah, I'm going crazy. Item 6, $55. And item 7, $55.
Good job.
I sure would like to meet that guy.
The next bid is for our liquid asphalt. It's from Ergon Asphalt and Emulsions. This will be item 8. It's $2.17 per gallon.
Wait, $2 and what?
17 cents.
Okay.
Item 9, $2.57. Item 10, $2.42. And then item 11 is $2.17.
They seem to be competitive.
Same thing.
The only ones that's bid on it, 10, 11.
Oh, and the next
Ergon.
one's Ergon too. She submitted it online, electronically, and in paper.
Same thing.
Yes, sir. And I recommend those be taken under advisement.
A little bit.
Have a motion to take these items under advisement.
Motion.
Motion by Steve.
Second.
Second by Brad. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Our next bids are for scrub seal, slurry seal, microsurfacing, and microsurfacing modified.
I don't know why I do this. I just don't have anything else to do, I guess.
Let me bid on
How
that.
many people turned in a bid on this?
Just 2. The first bid is from Dickerson and Bowen,
On
and they
micro?
submitted electronically. They only bid on item 1. Oh, I'm sorry, scrub seal for $3.50.
Okay.
This one is from T.L. Wallace Construction. Item 1, they bid scrub seal $2.50. The slurry seal is $2.50. Microsurfacing, $2.60. The microsurfacing modified, A is $7.50. B, $75. And C, $80.
I don't even know where the hell we're at now. On the bottom. 750, is that what that is? And then what?
75, and then 80. And I recommend those be taken under advisement.
And that was T.L. Wallace.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Have a motion to take these items under advisement?
Move.
Motion by
Second.
Jared, second by Brad, any discussion? All in favor say aye. Ayes have it. Guessing you vote.
Yeah, I mean.
Our next bids are for crushed aggregates. We don't have bid tabs on these, because there's so many, we usually just
Dadgummit.
tell on record who we received and we'll.
It's kind of a race trying to keep up.
Yeah.
Bridget talks fast.
I don't like being up here. Do y'all want me to read all these out, or do like,
No.
okay, Jay?
Read them all out. No, big.
No, the first we bid received is from Vulcan Materials. And they submitted their pricing and the addendum signed
I don't
as
think there's
required.
anyone here interested in any of that, so.
The second bid is from White Sands. Their bid is in order. Next bid is from Warren Paving. That's correct. Final bid is from Miller Materials. I'm not sure they. Is there anything else in there? They were supposed to have included the signed addendum, and they did not.
This one, 6:30.
Uh-oh.
I recommend those be taken under advisement.
Bridget, do you feel comfortable if the board goes ahead and makes a determination as to whether or not that last bid is compliant?
Yes, but let me double check so I don't mess up. No, it's just the attachment A. I do not see addendum 1 in here.
We want a motion to reject the bid of Miller Materials for failing to provide the required addendum.
How many do we have on that? Is that our normal is that our normal bidder? Okay. all
They
right.
bid in the past, yes.
Yeah, I mean, they bid.
They didn't last year, but they have in the
Okay.
past.
All right. So, is that all on those?
Yes, that's all the crushed aggregates.
So we need a motion to take those under advisement and disallow the one that's not
Yeah,
compliant.
you can do that as a combined motion, reject the
I'm
Miller
not
bid for
looking at
failing
correct.
to
I get
comply with the
nervous.
addendum
It's not in
requirement,
there.
and take the rest of the
All right, motion by Steve,
Second.
second by Jared, all in favor say aye. Aye. Ayes have it.
And I called one for you.
Following bridges to be replaced. Thomasville, Fox Hollow,
The next bids are for gravel. We received 2. The first bid received for gravel is from J&L Enterprises. And they bid for only Craig, say that again, Clay gravel. I need to go home. The second bid is from White Sands, and they bid on wash pea and clay gravel. I recommend those be taken under advisement.
So move. Make.
All right, have a motion to take these under advisement by Jared,
Second.
second by Brad, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
I got that.
This bid is for the metal culverts and including the box culverts. We received 1 bid from Southern Pipe and Supply. And it looks like it.
600 items, if y'all want to read them. all.
Yes, we got like 12 pages of bid tab, but I recommend that be taken under advisement as the sole bid received.
Okay. Motion by
Second.
Daniel, or second by, Jared, all in favor say aye. Ayes have it.
The final bids are for the polypropylene culverts, and we received 1 bid for this from Southern Pipe and Supply.
Just one?
Just 1. And the
Mike, are we using
bid
many
is
of
in
those
order.
now?
Heck, yeah.
I thought you were going away from those.
To this, we got away from the black. This is the grayest.
Oh, the color.
I think this is the
About
second year
3
we've
times
used these.
thicker than.
I got you.
black.
Okay.
Anyway, the bid's in order, and I recommend it be taken under advisement as the sole bid received.
Okay. Motion by Daniel,
Second.
second by Jared, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bridget. All right, Mike,
I'll just stay here.
since you're there,
You gonna go and get me? All right, I want to do approval for bridge replacement on Thomasville, Foxhall, and Harold Road.
Isn't that Thomasville, is that the one that was $1 million?
No, we shrunk it a little.
So what? I mean, is it
How much
so
is it?
substantial that we want to get it on the MPO or?
No,
Okay.
I mean, I got the prices on it. if
Yeah,
you
I'd
want
like
to
to know
what they
Okay, well, Thomasville will be, material will be 125, installing will be 175. Foxhall will be 95, material, 180 install. Harold will be 90,000 material and 175 installed. So you're looking at those three bridges,
All that
about
added together.
$850,000.
Were those part of the 10?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And this should complete our 10. And we've got some that'll be in MPO or LSRP or whatever you want to call it. We got
Yeah,
two bridges
that's
that'll
one
be
that
in
we're
that, Jay.
Okay.
That just
But
comes out
Not
of bridge.
Between Strasburg and.
No, we
Well,
should
let's-
get some
It's
funds
not
for
what
that.
they talked about.
Gonna have to come out of
No,
something.
he's talking
I'm talking
about,
about
he's
the-
talking about.
Oh, yeah.
I think they decided.
But I mean, that was all budgeted for, right, out of bridge?
It was not, it was not budgeted.
What we had said.
It's not budgeted.
We put $1 million in it.
And what we had said is, as these come on and you approve them, that I'll make an amendment and we'll take it out of cash and bring it forward at the time that you approve them.
We don't have it in bridge.
So this comes out of cash in the bridge?
Yes, sir.
We don't have them.
We don't have it
Funds.
in there. No, we balanced according to the funds that we will have coming in without cash to our current budget. Then anything that is approved outside of that, we will make an amendment.
Okay.
Now, we got some more bridges to do in the county.
Didn't we, when we budgeted $1 million though, right?
That was for,
Everything.
That was not,
Any
that was
bridge.
not for Sunset Bridge. Okay.
not for the ones that y'all were going to do.
We upped our bridge just because we thought,
Yeah.
we knew we were gonna have this issue for a while ago. So,
But these four don't come out of that, though.
Three.
well,
Three of
we'll
them.
use a piece of it, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Three?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
A little bit. I think we done kinda gone through the million.
Yeah, I mean,
Mike,
yeah.
can we foresee some things, bridges, that we expect, maybe Tim would be better to ask this, in the next, say, 5 years, that we can go for other funding, we can go to these places like
MPO or-
MPO, whatever, that we can go ahead and get ready, that we know are gonna be the next ones on the list?
Yes, sir. This list takes the immediate issues.
I know,
away.
I know, I'm just talking about,
There's some that are gonna be repaired, after this, that don't need a total replacement. But, I don't anticipate this list continuing to grow, because in this process, we're getting rid of the two timber bridges that we had left. We're getting rid of a lot of the old bridges that were built on used parts and pieces. A lot of these bridges were put in with used materials from other bridges.
But now, some of these though are perfectly fine, and they went out there and found some issues with,
Right.
like Greenfield Road. Was that pieces and parts?
I don't think Greenfield was, but it was built in the '70s, so, the issue there is just, underneath the bridge. and
It's
so
just
forth.
really odd how, we've had bridge inspections every year, we're all rocking on fine, all of a sudden, whenever we change, and they start documenting, taking pictures, wham, bam, here you come, start doing inspections, and now all of a sudden we have 10.
Don't you think it has a lot to do with the fact that we didn't have any, and that didn't look good on them, so they, decided we're gonna make sure we find, anybody can find a problem when you start
The
inspecting
ratings
stuff.
criteria is changing too. It's,
Yeah.
the bridges are being inspected in a much more in-depth
Yeah.
mannerism than they used to be.
how does that affect other counties that maybe don't have the resources we have?
Well, terrible.
They're,
I mean, when you get outside,
they're closing a lot of
It's
bridges.
killing them, Steve, yeah, it's
They are
closing a lot of
closing
them.
a lot of bridges.
I can tell you though, this new algorithm they're going by, there was a structural engineer in Pike County, who happened to live on the road that they closed his bridge. He went, did his own measurements, took them, and they reassessed, and it is no longer a closed bridge. So I think that we might can do our due diligence on these places.
Well, and I guess that's kind of my question here. I don't know, that's what's got me kind of confused, why we're already in the cash, and this is.
Well, we knew we were gonna be.
How much do we expect?
Well, Well, I think they
This is a
gave us
big-
a
this is-
number out of
this
those
is-
10 bridges,
Well,
but we
this-
didn't know we were gonna get it
I
all
guess my
done in
point
one
is, this is a
year.
$1 million pop right out of the gate.
Yeah. What'd y'all say, it'd be about 4 million?
Between 4 and 4.5 is what we had estimated.
Yeah, but we knew we couldn't do it all in 1 year, so some of this is gonna
So-
go next year,
so this
so we're
is
gonna
it.
get popped again next year too.
Well, I guess my thing, this is it, right?
Not necessarily.
I think it's every year.
This
it's
is,
gonna be
this
For
is
another.
this
it,
year?
this is it for the replacements right now that we have been inspected and done. Now, we've got, I'm like Tim now, we've got other bridges we got to go in and repair some panels on, redo some stuff like that. It's not gonna be as much, but you still got some costs that,
So out of the original 10, how many have we done so far?
We've completed one.
So.
Which
we-
one-
we
which
have
one was that?
the rest.
Completed Garrett Lane.
Okay.
You have authorized Greenfield and Shiloh,
in Pine Brook.
that's the next two.
Well, they're working on Pine Brook right now.
Yeah, and well, Pine Brook was.
For the
it's-
new
it's-
bridge.
That's a
it's in the
different one.
It's different.
So how much have we paid for so far?
Garrett, well, we've got the invoice for Garrett, we always pay for, I guess, this is the bridge
Yeah.
right here. The materials on Garrett,
So yeah,
And-
we got $4 million still to go.
And I guess that's just, I'm just trying to wrap my mind around where we're getting 4 million from.
Without cash,
It's the only option you got?
yeah.
So Steve, to further to your comment
We're gonna
about
find
down the road,
where it is.
this past year
Well, there's
completed the second
LSPP
year of the new
money
bridge
we
inspection
get from
cycle. So
state
that
aid.
means all the bridges in the county
think
have
that's-
been
that's
inspected
kinda my
under this
point.
new
Yeah.
procedure, so
I mean,
to speak. So I don't expect
on the
this to
LSP
continue
money,
to
that's
this
kinda
degree.
more the route
We
you
may
go.
have one here and there.
Scattered.
Right, yes, sir.
It's a
It's
$4
not,
million
it's, I
pop.
don't anticipate it being
Yeah.
10 a year for the next 5 years.
That's a bad spot.
Year about
Yeah,
that.
no doubt.
What about that bridge on Spillway? I know you and I talked about that. The structure by the fire
It'll
station.
be a repair, we'll have to look at it and see what we've got to do to get the tonnage rating up. I mean, basically, they give you, they punch in these numbers in a computer, Daniel, and it gives you a rating and says it's 19 tons. Then you got to go in and, I mean, it takes days to break down their report, and I'll have to lean on
Right.
Tim on
And
that.
state aid that's a perfect example. That's not considered a non-complex bridge. So it's out of our hands for the bridge inspection. State aid takes that and they hire another consultant to do that bridge inspection. We have no control over that.
Another-
There are
another-
there are some, bridge dollars coming up, right, through LSBP or LS,
Yes,
whatever.
we have LSVP funds and we're doing, there'll be 2 bridges under that. We'll have that program ready for you in, maybe the next couple of meetings.
How much is that gonna be?
Right now, funds available, we have about 900,000 in LSVP funds.
Okay,
All these bridges are not LSVP eligible.
Right.
The 2 that you have eligible, we can use it on are, Pleasant Street and, Kirsch Road.
Kirsch.
Are the 2 that will be under that project. There may be a third pop up out of that too, but, all the bridges aren't, if it's on a state aid route, it's not LSVP eligible. LSVP is for local bridges that aren't on state aid route.
Hey, Laura, just remind me, what was our cash balance going into today? We're going into October. We're beginning October, not really going into it, beginning October.
Our cash balance for the beginning of the year was, not quite $1 million, but we have 9 in, investments.
So roughly 10.
Minus the one we're fixing to spend right now. With 4 more to come, so our cash balance is looking like, once this is done, if we can't tap into those, we can
Yeah.
just all do the math.
so we're gonna be at $3 million, out of pocket.
If they all get done this year.
We're not.
If that,
we're-
yeah,
we
there'll
don't
be
mean-
some next year.
Yeah, I just want everybody to see the plan, the route we're headed down, so.
Oh, we see it. Not the first time we've been.
But,
Well,
you
hopefully
know,
that's
if you,
as
if
bad as
y'all,
we
if
get,
y'all
you
remember,
know,
we tried to
We're
put,
gonna do some more.
if y'all remember, we tried to put some of this in that bridge fund deal
Right,
back at the beginning of this deal, and we got denied on it.
right.
That
Well,
was the ERBRF
it could be that we could go
emergency
to Washington,
funds. All
because
of
they're
those
putting money in
funds,
infrastructure.
The infrastructure
counties actually
plan,
had
we've got,
physically
I guess
closed
my
the
argument
bridges.
is, we've gotta find another source for you.
That's our only other
That's right,
location.
that's right.
So what we're running into is, you know, our bridges being rated at 9 tons, which, that don't allow a school bus to go across.
Yeah.
That's right.
So that's the bridges we're focusing on right now, is trying to get the weight up to at least a certain 17 tons or something like that, you know. So that's kinda where we at on that.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, think anything else?
That's it.
All right, so we have a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Brad,
Second.
second by Jared. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Come on up, Mr. Parker.
Thank you, Mr. President. The first item we have on the agenda is Sawgrass Lakes Park 4. We're recommending approval of the final plat and letter of credit in the amount of $113,200. That's a District 3 development.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, motion by Brad,
Second.
second by Jared. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
The second item we have, Mr. President, is Freedom Farms Part 2 and Part 3. We're recommending approval of the preliminary plat. This is a District 4 development. A little bit about these, they show both of them on the same preliminary plat. Part 2 is 6 lots and Part 3 is 13 lots. They're actually divided by a private parcel that is owned by somebody else. These Part 2 and Part 2 is actually fully contained on Stoll Road, and Part 3 is on the corner of Stoll and Stump Ridge Road. I would point out that both of these are on existing gravel roads.
I'm with you. You know, these are the ones that are, you know, we're getting a lot developed out there on all these gravel roads. Our few that we have left in the county, I know we've done some mileage, 1 or 2 miles. I think this is the time, when we've done this before, have the developer be responsible for some of the costs to bring the road up far, because every one of these houses is gonna get built, they're expecting to have, you know, services right on asphalt. So,
I agree.
you know.
These also, aren't these the same ones that also, in the past, I mean, I think we've heard this even a couple terms ago, about some of these roads were gravel, and is that not the road they got logged out of for one time? So
Yes, sir.
they built in there on those basically log roads.
Right.
Well, this is all gas company, well, it is Timberland.
Timberlands, I think.
Yeah.
Right. No, I think you're right, I mean, because they were not built for this anyway.
So, you know, personally, I'd approve it, but he was gonna have to, come meet with us, and he's gonna be responsible for bringing the roads up to, you know, asphalt.
A part, I mean, I'm not saying he has to do the whole thing, but a partial.
Well, I think maybe we just don't approve it until we come here and bring him in, or is he here?
No, sir. So potentially, and keep in mind, this is just a preliminary plat, and normally on the plats where there are no roads to be built, there is no infrastructure improvements, we do just a preliminary plat approval and a final plat approval because there's no construction drawings. So what we could do, if it's the board's pleasure, is approve the preliminary plat. That doesn't give him authority to start.
Well, he could go clear and grub, right?
I guess he could do that without a plat.
Okay.
But no, the final plat would be the point at which he can start selling lots. So we don't have to approve it, we can just immediately go into discussions. But
Well, I mean, I just think he needs to be aware before he goes do a lot more investment
Yeah,
than
because
what
he-
we're expecting of him.
Yeah, because
so-
he goes and starts clearing and grubbing, he's gonna have, I mean, I'm
Money
sure you can go
tied up.
clear
Yeah.
anytime, but I mean,
What would you
he's gonna have that money
recommend,
tied up
He's
in it.
anticipating
Right,
building houses,
that's
selling,
right.
selling.
He might wanna think about it, maybe a good time to let him know, cause otherwise he's just spent the money all the clearing and grubbing, and then here, I'm back here.
Oh, certainly, if the preliminary plat were approved today, we would notify them that
So
the
why
preliminary
don't we
plat
let
is.
our attorney give us an idea of the best way to move
So you
forward?
would approve the preliminary plat contingent upon the receipt of written documentation from the developer as to an understanding about the condition of the road and his responsibility with respect to the public roads that serve as access.
Let's get in touch with him as soon as possible, because I know he operates with very thin balance. He's a young developer that's trying to do good, and he has done good. And I understand where these guys are coming from. There's no other place in the county that has allowed developers to do what we're doing, and we've gotten down the road with it. I don't want to put the whole burden on him. I have to do what 3 of these other guys decide to do, but I want him, before he spends another penny, to know where.
Yeah, oh, I agree.
Okay.
We owe him that, and maybe something we can work with,
All
but
right,
I'm
so
just
can
saying,
we
I
have
think we owe
a
him that.
motion to approve the plat contingent on having a written agreement as far as what repairs will be made
Yes,
to the road?
it needs to be determined precisely what his obligation will be
Yeah.
before we allow development
Uh-huh.
activity.
Okay.
And so if y'all aren't satisfied the way you've approved the preliminary plat as a condition, the condition fails, the plat's no longer approved.
All right, I'll make that motion.
All right, motion by Steve,
Second.
second by Brad. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr. President. The third item is authority to advertise the Ehrlich Road, that should say bridge replacement project. This is also one of the bridges that is on the list. The difference between this bridge and the others
Are you
is,
talking about the road we built that nobody drives on?
no, sir, this is the
That's
old
called
Ehrlich Road route.
And,
This-
people drive on it all the time. Where'd you come up with that?
I don't go down there very often, but just
I'm
whenever
sure
I
you don't
do,
drive
there's
on it.
nobody on it.
Well,
What
that's,
road you talking about?
That one we spent $5 million on a bridge over there.
What's
That
the name of the
Ehrlich Road?
Comes out right there at the fish house.
It's actually called, it's Eagle
Yeah, I
Post
got
Road
you.
now.
Eagle Post.
man.
Oh,
Eagle
I
called
forgot
Eagle,
they
it's
moved
called
it.
Eagle Post,
It's not called Early.
east and west.
It's called Eagle Post now.
Yeah.
It was.
So
but-
the difference between this bridge and what we talked about earlier is this bridge actually can be replaced with a box culvert, which is the plan, that's the plans for this. And we don't have a commodity bid on box culverts, so
For safety.
this one would have to be bid, but it will also, it's a small enough box where it actually comes off of the inspection list, so this one won't be on the list anymore. So the advantage to getting this one replaced with the box is you take it off the bridge list.
How much?
This is probably gonna be between $450,000 and $500,000.
Good God.
How much?
I'm glad it's not a big one.
Hey,
It's just long, it's not,
let me tell you what I'm gonna get. I'm gonna get one of these heart monitors where y'all can just
No.
pull up an app and you can just watch my rate go up. You know what I'm saying? You just see it.
Not one of the ones. He said it was not one of those.
no, the bridge is one, it's not one that, the reason we can't do it like those, yes, it was one of the bridges has a low sufficiency rating,
Yeah, they
yes.
came in and out.
It's posted.
That's one of the 10.
So where's the
We came-
where's
we
the half a
talked
million
about
of this coming
Way
from?
back, this has been going
Cash?
on for, over a year. The,
Sounds like it.
The city was getting right of way and temporary right of way or something, I forget. We put that off on them. So this has been going on for over a year. This is nothing new.
Well, it
Dude,
is
we're
me.
fixing to blow through 1.4 million of cash non-budgeted this morning. Shouldn't we pump the brakes on this a little bit?
What's the
Kinda
load limit? What's
Well,
what's caused it to
Mike,
fail?
step up and tell them what's happened, how you've had to go down there and this bridge washed out multiple. Go on, jump in there.
But I mean, we've had to redo the head walls,
Well, we patched the head wall.
patch the head walls, the creek's got a bad turn in it. There's a little more than just, we're doing some other things to kinda help this thing from erosion.
Right.
We had a bad erosion problem on this bridge
Just
since I've been here.
like this is
Because
one
also,
way in,
there
one
has
way
to
out.
be a
You have to
runaround
get
on this one 'cause
this
it's a dead end
road
road.
to get to your house. Is that?
No,
No, not to get to my house, no, sir.
no. This is a one-way in, one-way out.
One way in, one way out. We had to shut this.
So how many
road
cars
down.
are on that road today?
I don't know, we didn't do a traffic count
I
down.
don't know.
A bunch?
Well, if people live on it, it ain't no
I
different
mean,
from
they
these others
probably
we having to do.
40
People live on
houses in there.
40 houses? I'm just saying,
I
we're
don't
blowing
know.
through
I'm just guessing
1.5
at that.
million in cash right now. I guess that's where it's coming. Is this coming out of your bridge, a budget? No, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I mean-
yeah,
I mean,
yes, and
I'm just
no-
saying, there's
no
fixing to
and
be a
yes.
point here. There's fixing to be a point to where there is no more bridge
No more
replacement.
cash.
Unless they want to do it for
This
free.
is what we talked about in my deal, that I knew we had it coming, you know.
Yeah.
So just tell me,
Why don't we
did
put that one
not
up
put
without
this up underneath you? Why is it down here on its own?
That's what I'm saying. Why would it put
Because
it?
it's advertised for public bid. The ones that Mike's doing will be under the existing
Commodity.
bridge contract, commodity contract with Keaton.
Tim and them will be
Okay.
handling this
All right.
contract.
But
you couldn't do
This
this
will
one
no
up there
longer be a
under.
bridge. This won't be.
You
put
could,
in
you
a
could put a,
bridge.
you could
It's
put
gonna
a
be
bridge back there
done.
if you wanted to.
Heck no.
But under that contract, you could put
Which
a bridge
one,
there.
which is the least expensive route to go?
Well, I want them to take it off the bridge list.
All right, if
And
you
that's
put a
what-
bridge back,
right.
it's on the bridge list.
Right.
But
That's
what's
what I'm
the
saying.
least expensive route to go?
The least expensive route is to put a bridge back in.
To the tune of what?
Same thing, it would be,
Be
probably
about
2 at
95,
19. It's gonna be
175, so.
So a quarter of the cost.
half the cost.
Well, you have to put.
Little less
What, you
than
say
you'll still have to put-
500,000,
you'll
so
still
we're
have to put a-
250?
Yeah.
You'll still have to
Yeah.
put a runaround in.
But you're
Half
not
the
gonna, you're not gonna solve your problem,
You're not?
because the way that creek comes in, hits that head wall, that's what we're having a problem now,
Yeah,
watching
it
the
makes
head
a,
wall.
makes a 90 right
So
there.
it comes in there, it comes in, does a complete,
Snake and then
and bangs
goes
that
snake
head wall,
right
that's
out the
really keeps.
backside.
We could put a bigger bridge
Wash
in.
it out.
I don't wanna bore you with the details of the design, but one of the issues with this bridge is not the flow under it, it's the backup of Steens Creek. This
It's in the
bridge,
city.
No, it's on
it goes
the
under, after it goes under this existing bridge, it goes through a box culvert under Eagle Post Road, then it goes under Highway 469 at the Steens Creek Bridge. So Steens Creek backs up, so we get backwaters. That's what's causing Mike the bridge problems. It's not the flow through the bridge, it's the backwaters. It builds up on the bridge to the bridge, and then when it goes back down, it's
everything
sucking
out.
everything out from behind the
Right, so
headwaters.
I guess my thing is, the bridge undrivable right now? Does this gotta be done right now? I guess that's my question, because we're
It's
fixing to be out of
been-
cash.
It's been
What's this
needed to
saying?
be done for over a year, and we've been passionate for over a year.
What I'm saying is the bridge drivable right now?
Yes, sir, it's passable.
I mean, it's not unsafe right now. I mean, I
It's,
know we
it's
gotta
po-
fix
it's
it.
posted. I mean, it's posted at, I think, 15 tons, I believe, 15 or 17, I think.
Is
And
there,
we just got
is
residents
it,
behind
is
it,
there
right?
anything that
School bus.
crosses, a school bus don't weigh 15 tons, so anything, what does a garbage truck weigh?
Probably that,
More
or
than that.
more than that.
Okay.
This
The-
way
the
it comes
issue
off, it
is-
comes off the bridge list, because you're not gonna fix the problem.
I'd like to take it off the bridge list.
That's the reason we looked at this one as
I
a
know.
box culvert, that we'd be completely through with this, cause it'd be off the bridge.
And this, what you're talking about will correct the water erosion.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
For 500,000.
And when you have bridges with a sufficiency rating below 50, that raises the flag for state aid to not be able to use your state aid funds for other
How much
things.
is in the bridge? How much do we budget for
Overlay.
bridge? Just off top, I don't have my sheets in front of me.
I
You
don't
know?
have mine in front of me either. I know we had talked about one time, you know,
I would like to, I don't care whether it's this bridge, Thomasville, Foxhall, or Harrell, see which one can wait
Yeah.
another year.
That's why we need to
And
push
only
some of this
do
back.
3. If we do 3 a year, in 3 years, we'll have our 10 or whatever about knocked out. And it's, whichever one of those can wait another year.
That's gonna obligate, that's gonna
it's gonna.
trouble you with
State
using
aid
your
money.
state aid monies. You're gonna end up having to use state aid monies,
Fix your bridges.
to fix those bridges, which you certainly can do that. But in the past, you've been
Why?
able to use that on overlay.
If you fix 3 instead of 4, why?
Because state aid wants the bridges fixed first before you do anything else. That's their main focus right
Well,
now
that's
is
not the
bridges.
only, we got 10. So are they gonna make us
They're
use
not
our
all
state?
aid, I don't think.
You've got to have a,
Thomasville's not a state aid.
Okay,
Don't mind
then
it.
take
It's
Thomasville
still-
off.
It's still state aid regulates our bridges, it's not,
I got you.
don't matter whether it's on state aid.
So why are they not saying that on the other 6?
Yeah,
which other 6?
well, I mean, we have 10 that we need to do, that we're gonna have to post.
Right.
I guess are all 10 of them not where traffic can go across?
No, all of them are open. Yes, sir.
What, for the tonnage?
Right.
What's the tonnage?
They're all,
The same?
they're posted. I mean, I
We
know
don't have
exact-
anything below 9 ton.
No, Greenfield and Shiloh, I think, are the 9-ton bridges.
So everything else is above the.
I think they're mostly 15s and 17s, I think.
Short
And,
term.
and, and let me explain this too. It gets a little complicated. Just being posted is not the issue. It's the sufficiency rating of the bridge. State aid has always looked at when it goes below 50, that throws it into the needs to be replaced category. I think if we show that we're continually replacing bridges, I think, we don't know this yet, but I think state aid will be satisfied with being able to use some of the other state aid monies for overlays and whatever you want to use them for, or reseals and that kind of thing. But if we cut off the bridge replacement, my opinion is they're gonna say, use state aid monies for the state
But
aid.
what's the significance of 3 bridges this year versus 4 bridges in the next year with state aid? Why would they say you're not doing it?
I don't know. I mean, we can certainly pose that question to them. I don't know if they want all of them a plan to do them all. I mean, maybe if you
But
said.
there's 10.
Right.
Are they saying we gotta do all 10, or we're not going?
And I would bet no other county's doing their max list the first year. I mean,
Right.
everybody's gotta take it in pieces.
Well, we're not doing them all the first year. Some of these are gonna roll over
I'm
the
just,
next year.
it makes my stomach hurt to go through $1.4 million of cash in October when I think our budget started October 1st.
Like 15 days in.
Gosh almighty.
So we can certainly have the conversations with state aid, and get back to you at the next meeting.
I mean, if you had to prioritize
This is my
Thomasville, Foxhall,
cash.
Harold,
I
and
have
Hurley,
$6.
Yeah.
And,
can we apply that to this?
yes,
I wonder what you,
I
where
think
you're
I
going
got,
with
let
that.
me see how much I got. I think I got 21 cash.
$6 I can put in there.
Lane hit me this morning before I left. I got 21 into that project. How about
Six.
that? Throw it in there. I
Um,
guess my thing is, if we don't have it, and we got it, but I mean, there's gonna be an issue where a bridge comes up that's undrivable, you gotta close. And that's gotta be addressed to me, in my mind, on the cash side of things. When you have to shut something down, or, I'm not saying none of the roads are more important than others, but a thoroughfare that's gotta be hit on that money. Right now, today,
So.
You gotta keep it
out
under
of
$1
the
million
10,
today.
How many would qualify for an MPO project?
I don't know the answer to that. I would have, they're all gonna be on,
Nobody wanted that deal.
I don't know the answer to that. I have to look at them and see which ones.
Thomasville, we
Thomasville,
need,
Thomasville, maybe.
Which one?
the
Maybe
Thomasville.
Thomasville.
And it was 200,000?
And it's on the state aid route, so you could use state aid money for it.
You can use your state aid
It's
money.
state
But that's,
aid.
but that's
You
overlay
use
money.
state aid
That's
for our
overlay money.
roads,
That's
so
overlay
that's
money.
what I'm
That's
saying.
I know.
You just pulling it out.
What state aid's taking the stamps on is just like they did with the mailboxes. I mean, you either remove them,
Move them back off the road or
or we're not gonna
lose your
use no
state
money.
money.
You know, I mean, it's kinda.
So-
yeah.
What we would be happy to have a conversation with state aid, and this is headed where Mr. Gaines was headed, is if there was a plan to say, we're going to do 3 this year, and we're gonna do 3 next year, at that rate, whatever that rate
At
is.
least we could plan our
Then we
budget.
can present that and say, here's what the board is committed to, and see how that would affect the state aid monies.
I thought that was why our conversation was anyway, when we were doing budgeting, we all said, thought you guys were telling us we can't get it all done this fast anyway, so it'll be 2 or 3 years before we get all this done.
We can't get it, we can't get them all done immediately, but what we're trying to do is get them in the queue when, he rolls through them pretty quick if you're doing them under their bid. I mean, when they get through with one,
6 to 8 weeks, they're done.
they're done with the bridge.
The problem is, what we're trying to get ahead of the game is, Jay,
Yeah, I
it's taking
understand.
us longer to get parts in than it is.
Yeah.
I mean, we ordered 2 bridges, we went to order the 3rd bridge that we did the other day. Keys is gonna have to pull off, they're gonna be January before they come back, Greenfield, because we can't get the parts.
Yeah.
It takes
So,
that long to get, I mean, it's taking us 4 months to get parts for the bridges.
well, I know whenever we,
And I won't
do
wait
our,
unless we get
our,
them a PO.
we do our quantities, when we do our semi-monthly bids, we get great prices because there's competition. Well, Key's the only one who bid. So what is the possibility if we took this out for bid, opened it up, that we wouldn't get better price than what we have, under our state contract?
You may put these out for public bid?
Yeah.
The issue there is you're gonna have to have engineering. You're gonna have to, there's gonna be some additional indirect cost with doing that. And key is, you're not gonna get the bridges built for the same amount of money, in my opinion, even close.
All right.
It's no different when, what's that, drag line?
S&S drag line.
It's the same thing. I don't
Yeah,
know how they
but we
compare.
didn't do nothing like this with them though.
Huh?
We've never done anything like this with the drag line.
What do you mean we had, they put all kinds of bridges in?
Not to this magnitude. We may do one a year and a small one at that. That's probably why the drag line got out of business.
Wasn't enough of them?
Yeah.
No, but that's not why he got out of business, but, no, we did more than one a year for us.
I doubt it.
I can show you right down District 1 where they did some, more than one a year.
Well, there you go. District 1 gets everything they want.
Look, why don't y'all look at these, pick the 3 most egregious, the ones that really need our attention,
And I think
If
we've
you
already
get through with
done
those
that.
three, come back for the fourth one in this year, in this budget year. We did, I think we should have, for next year, let's budget 3 or 4 bridges to where we can, and I just don't, I'm like Daniel, I don't like pulling all this money out of cash when we don't have that much money. I mean, when you get under 10, I mean, it's a lot of money for me. I'll never see $10 million in my life. But $10 million in this county is not a lot of money to have in cash. If we had a tornado of any
I mean,
magnitude
a
to
true
come through or
emergency,
something,
yeah.
yeah. And here we just sit right here today, like, in 2 weeks into the year, plucking millions out of that.
If state aid will work with us on letting us do that, that'd be a great plan.
We'll certainly pursue that and have an answer for you in the next
The
few
three
days.
All right.
worst ones, highest traffic, or however y'all rate them, and then if we get through with those three, come back to us.
So look, we've already approved the,
Well, we
Already
can, we,
approved
we,
three
of them.
we can go, we can go back
amend
and, we can
that.
go back and amend that,
Let's
can't we,
amend
Slade?
that,
We can go back up and amend that.
let's amend it
Okay.
to add this one to those three.
I agree.
But should we put a money cap on what we're gonna spend this year on the bridges?
Can we,
I mean, that's not an emergency cap?
I tell you what, let, y'all amend that, let me and Tim get some answers, and then we'll come back, because we may look at this thing of just, I mean, we can do this thing a lot of different ways. We can go ahead and order the material, and that's gonna cut your cost way down. I mean, we don't have but, about 300,000 in material for 3 bridges.
For the 3 bridges y'all approved earlier.
And that would get the material at least coming, we're not sitting, I mean, they can bring that and sit it on my yard.
Then it'd just be sitting there for whenever that day comes, whether
That's
it's
right.
this year, next year,
That's
whatever.
right. But the problem is, it's just,
Because
they will
of the
not make
timeline,
you
right, I
no
agree.
components until you order.
And
Like
the
you
parts,
said,
all these are
tires, you
precast
don't
bridges,
get-
so the parts are
Yeah.
interchangeable, you just, I mean, they're different lengths, but,
But we got to do
But what I'm saying is, y'all amend it,
Those three we gonna
and
do.
then we'll get an answer from state aid, but that would be our.
Because they're
my
not
recommendation.
unique. I mean, I think they're unique. They're not,
To
you
that
know,
bridge.
multi-use, you know.
Yeah, you're not
Aren't
gonna
they?
use it. You need
What's that?
to-
Materials are not multi-use. They're unique to that project.
well, to some degree, they're 19-foot, all these are 19-foot spans or 31-foot spans. But they're different widths, so you need more pieces to make it wider. But the pieces, a 19-foot span intermediate can be used on
They're
Thomasville,
interchangeable?
it can be
Okay.
used on
All right.
Greenfield, it can be used on, all of them are the same.
Okay.
Like when we pull Greenfield out, that's what we don't know, that's why we have to come to y'all with the parts. First bridge we tore out, none of the parts was any good on it. But see, Greenfield's gonna have some salvageable parts on it.
So you basically just want us to approve ordering the materials?
Well, I just wanna
For
amend.
those
He's just putting it out there.
I'm just putting that out there, let's just amend the first thing that I did.
Because it
Me and
takes so
Tim
long.
Get some
for it to come in.
answers, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about the parts, whether we wanna do parts or whatever.
So we need a motion to amend the prior authorization of item 8A on the agenda to reflect that what is authorized is the ordering of the bridge replacement parts,
All right.
not
motion.
not the completion of the bridge replacement. You're authorizing the ordering of the parts
All right.
for the bridges.
Oh, you want to hold off on
I
all?
was gonna hold off on all of the correct till next.
Okay,
So we're gonna amend the whole.
so what we need to
retract
do
it.
is,
Just retract the entire
it's a
motion.
motion to rescind
All right.
the motion for item 8A on the agenda.
I'll make a motion to rescind item 8A.
And then we'll talk about whether we order.
All right, motion by Brad, second by Steve, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. And
Follow
we're
up.
gonna table C.
Thank you, sir.
Do we need a motion to table it? All right.
Yeah, let's move to table item 9C.
Got a motion?
Make a motion to table 9C.
Motion by Brad, second by Steve, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, Mr. Slade.
one. Dang, Jared, you got them, don't you?
Do what?
You got first three of yours.
if we may, gentlemen, these
That's
are
more, Jay, District
Hey,
One.
does anybody got a problem setting A through J?
A through H.
A through H?
A through H will be
Oh,
to
yeah.
set hearings for
Different
October the
dates, okay.
29th,
That's my motion.
2020.
All right, motion by Daniel
Second.
for A through H, second by Brad, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Item I and J can be one motion for November 2 public hearings.
All right.
Motion.
Motion by Steve,
Second.
second by Brad, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Item K is a public hearing on the Grady Keith Allen conditional use permit at 280 Oakdale Road, this is District 4. I believe that Mr. Allen's present, yes. So we'll open that public hearing. Grady Keith Allen is seeking a conditional use permit to add 2 additional storage buildings to the rental property at 280 Oakdale Road. The buildings will be used to provide covered parking spaces for campers, motorhomes, boats, etc. The proposed buildings will be 10,080 square feet, 252 feet by 40. The first building will have an open front. The backside, which faces Oakdale Road, will be enclosed. Second building have an open front and back. It's a 39-acre parcel. It's zoned RE1. That public hearing is open. I'll ask if there is anyone here to speak in opposition to the Grady Keith Allen conditional use permit. Is anyone to speak in opposition on that matter? Mr. President, I don't see anyone here to speak in opposition on Mr. Allen's matter. There are a couple of conditions that the staff has put together, so let me reflect those for you. The first condition, install a fence that starts at the entrance of the existing storage area and continues along the front property line that will be used to screen the 2 new buildings. Also install a fence along the east property line to screen the storage area. The zoning ordinance states that the screen or fence must be wood or masonry, stone or concrete, vegetative screening, or a combination of those. Vegetative screening must provide year-round coverage, and the fence can be no higher than 8 feet. That'd be the first condition.
How low?
Sir,
6.
it can be no higher than 8 feet.
I understand that, but it's
6.
2 foot tall.
Well, I
6
think
or
6 to 8.
6 to 8.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Item 2 condition would be that both buildings must have a brick exterior to include the rear and the ends of the buildings that back up to Oakdale Road and the ends of the front of the building, which will have an open front and back. Okay, ends of the front building that will have an open front and back. So those would be the 2 conditions that have been recommended by the staff.
So, it's on the rest of the metal building, do we have, pictures, what it's gonna look like?
We did not.
I mean, the colors, what color are they gonna be?
Yeah, if Mr. Allen, if you'll come forward, please, you'll need to give your name and address for the record.
280 Oakdale Road,
Grady,
Brandon.
Grady Keith Allen. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, yes, sir, Mr. Allen, do you have what color are you planning on putting up?
It'll be aluminum top, not aluminum, galvanized top. And it'll be a red brick, kind of, we ain't picked them out yet, bricks on the back of the walls, on the ends.
Yes, sir.
Galvalume on the top's what he's trying to tell you.
What about the other sides that aren't? What?
Those are the ones
Another
facing
side.
the road.
Oh,
Pull
okay,
through.
There'll be a pull through,
okay. All
what
right.
it'll be. And 2 of the ends ain't even gonna be facing the road or nowhere else. They'll be facing my other property down there, but I can put them on there. I just added this morning $21,500 worth of, stuff, Shaw or who somebody wanted.
Yes, sir. Well, it'll go a long way in helping your property values going forward.
I don't know, unless y'all do something across the road over there, it ain't doing much.
There you go.
What's across the road?
Well,
There's a naked black guy standing out there the other morning,
A naked black guy?
yeah.
he walks up down that road.
Naked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't help your property value much.
Remember,
did
he was
I don't
on
know,
meeting.
may
here.
create traffic.
It was down the road.
May create traffic on that road.
Hollering, no, he's hollering, I'm gonna rape that white woman down the road. All the time, but naked.
He needs to get locked up somewhere.
He has been.
They've been down here several times and picked him up, because I called him.
Yes, sir.
If it wasn't for me out there, it'd been dope sold on that road for years and years. and I'll call them and let them know about it.
Well, I
We appreciate you
Yeah.
keeping watch on the
Yes, sir.
community out there.
No
I
doubt.
will do it, and I do it.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you working with us too.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, sir. All right. Do I have a motion to, on this item?
Yeah, motion.
Motion approved by
Second.
Steve, second by Jared. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Ayes have it.
Steve, just for clarity, that would be with the conditions as recommended.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And for the record, we have closed that public hearing. Mr. President, item L is the Colby Warren conditional use permit. Ms. Janice, do we know if Mr. Warren is here?
He's not here, and I've called a few folks out that way, and nobody's opposed it unless Ms. Renee had anybody.
We'll go through the drill of opening the public hearing for the Colby Warren conditional use permit. That hearing is open. Colby Warren is seeking a conditional use permit to operate a gun shop in an existing building at 2959 Cato Road. This is in the Braxton community. Gun shop will be used for buying, selling, and repair of guns. He is proposing hours of operation of Monday through Saturday, 9 to 5. The property is owned by his grandfather, Jack Warren. It's a 76-acre parcel zoned A2. And so Mr. Warren has applied for an ATF permit. That public hearing is open. I'll ask for the record, is anyone here to speak in opposition on the Colby Warren conditional use permit request? Anyone to speak in opposition on that? Mr. President, I don't see anyone to speak in opposition. We'll close that public hearing. This time it'd be appropriate to take action.
So,
I'll make a motion.
motion by Brad to approve,
Second.
second by Jared. Any discussion? So that was that little building, right? And he's gonna do all the updates and
That's
everything?
been,
Okay.
Yes.
That's
So
tough, man.
you understand that your code requirements is going to be pretty extensive. You have to comply with all the code requirements. This is really just the first step in the process. Mr. President, I would ask the board consider making this approval contingent upon his actually securing the ATF permit. I note that he's applied for it, but we don't have any information that he's actually received it. So I'd like for you to make that a condition precedent to his having authority to open this.
I'll make a motion to accept
All
that.
right. With that condition, no other discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Aye.
Next item under my section, gentlemen, is item M, consideration of and potential action to authorize a resolution of the utility relocation cost request that has been submitted on the Andrew Chapel Road project and the Gunner Road project. There are some other authorizations that go along with that, but I'll stop there and give the board any information that it wishes to have. A brief update is that we entered into a period of negotiations with Entergy about the relocation cost reimbursement request that was made. You'll recall that they asked for a combined total of $1.1 million, the combination being both for the Gunner Road relocation and the Andrew Chapel Road relocation. Andrew Chapel was about $785,000 in total reimbursement. Gunner Road was $309,000. Those together amount to almost $1.1 million. And so that's where that figure comes from. After a period of negotiations with Entergy, they agreed to reduce their relocation reimbursement request to $350,000 for Andrew Chapel and for $150,000 for Gunner Road, a total of $500,000. And so if the board is of a mind to authorize an agreement with Entergy for the newly revised relocation cost reimbursement agreement, it will save from and against their original demand about $600,000. It'll be a total of $500,000 for both projects. And so I think that's a good outcome for the county. You would also are being asked to allow the board president to execute rights-of-way documents that have been on hold pending a resolution of these matters. Two of those are related to the Andrew Chapel project itself, I'm sorry, one of those is on the Andrew Chapel Road project itself. Two others relate to the East Metro Corridor project that has an effect on property that's owned by the county that is associated with our hospital lease. And they need rights of way from the county on both of those. in order to move forward with both projects, obviously. So you would be authorizing the board president to execute the required rights-of-way documents for all of that. The third authorization that you would give is for the road manager to issue the required permits to Entergy so that they can actually conduct the work. And so that is the purpose for the lump authority that you see here in item M.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Motion by Steve.
Second.
Second by Jared. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
We are working on the actual relocation agreement that will be presented for Jay's signature based on this authority. There are a few tweaks here and there that I am in discussion with legal counsel for Entergy about. So I don't actually have the final document. Jay, with your permission, and with the board's authority, I would like to make this motion that you just entered contingent upon us arriving at a final version of that agreement with Entergy. We need to make sure that we're all on the same page about that before I let Jay sign it. And so that's how we're going to handle that. Item M, Mr. President, is a discussion of our Army National Guard letter that relates to the proposed maintenance shop to be located within the Rankin First Industrial Park. You'll recall that the National Guard came to Rankin First and has acquired, I think it's a 10-acre piece of property within the industrial park where they're going to locate their maintenance facility. What they are asking is for the county to agree to an environmental assessment agreement. I have read through this, Jay, and board. Yes.
Okay.
But we have to participate in that by providing them with documentation and access to records and some other things. And so you'll be authorizing the county to participate with the Army National Guard in this. There is no cost to the county associated with this request, but we do have to authorize their access to records that they need to conduct their environmental assessment.
We don't get any, if this is built, so we get no ad valorem, anything off of that, do we?
I don't believe we will get any ad valorem. It's an institution of the federal government. Yes, sir. It's an institution of the federal government.
It doesn't even draw hardly any, few people.
There will be, I believe the number I heard, Jay, was that they anticipate 25 employees on site.
That's right. Same way they built one right there on Florence.
Motion.
Motion by Steve.
Second.
Second by Brad. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Ayes have it.
Item O is a lengthy, I won't bother to read it all. Let me just give you guys a high-level version here. Wildlife Mississippi, Inc. is an entity, it's a 501c3 organization that's organized for the purpose of providing recreational activities and educational activities related to wildlife ecology, scientific study of ecological systems. They acquired from the Mississippi Department of Transportation a significant block of property along the Pearl River, south of the dam, east of the Pearl. It's about a 3,000 acre block of property that was owned and controlled by the Mississippi Department of Transportation. DOT used that as, in essence, a mitigation bank for purposes of compliance with the wetlands regulations under federal law. That property has been used up for that purpose. And so instead of DOT holding on to that property for whatever reason, they entered into an agreement with and transferred ownership and title of that property to Wildlife Mississippi. And so this group now has ownership and control over a significant block tract of acreage that is unusable. It's not fit because of its nature against the river. It's the flooding that occurs there just as a natural byproduct of being located next to the river. And so they are wanting to develop that property eventually into something fairly significant for the community. Trail systems, bike trails, fairly significant. We've got the details of it, by the way. We met with one of the officers of Wildlife Mississippi, Inc. recently to talk about this request that they had made. They've come to the county now because they also acquired, separate and apart, a 100 acre tract of property that they are going to turn into their visitor center for the larger block of property. And they're going to locate some facilities on that I think are fairly impressive if you want to look at it. With respect to the 100-acre block of property, we are currently deriving about $1,000 worth of total ad valorem receipts. There's nothing on it right now. It's about $1,000 in total ad valorem that's being collected annually. Of that amount, about $400 stays with the county. And they are asking for an exemption on the basis of their 501c3 status and on the basis of the fact that they intend to use the property in accordance with their charitable purpose, which is what the law demands in order for them to be entitled to the exemption. I was concerned originally that a holder of property, 3,000 plus acres, that is a charitable entity would come to the county and could potentially impact much more significantly our ad valorem. The reality is that we haven't collected ad valorem on that property, to my knowledge, ever. I don't know, we may have collected some long ago, but ever since DOT's held it, we've not collected any ad valorem. They're not subject to tax. And so this doesn't change the dynamics in any way as it relates to the county, except to the extent of this 100-acre piece. And the impact on the county from an ad valorem standpoint would be negligible, about $400 a year. And so I'm comfortable requesting, and that's why you have it before you, that we would authorize the exemption of their 100-acre piece, which you see the two property tax identifications that are listed there, F11C-1, F11C-1-40. It's a total of 100 acres. We would provide them with the required exemption under 2731-1D, and the impact of the county is $400.
I make the motion.
Motion by Steve.
I actually went out and visited with Mr. Cummings, I think it's James Cummings.
James Cummings.
The man is way smarter than me, and I mean, he talks way over my head, but what they're doing is a great thing. It's a swamp, and it's not just right here. They've taken areas up and down the river and anyhow, and even in the Delta, and making them to where they could almost be parks, and they do it all with their own grants and stuff. And to do it where they're doing it right around them, highly populated, where people can use it,
Yes.
I think it's tremendous.
Is it bow hunting on
They will allow limited bow hunting. I was shocked.
I would,
Really?
it? I didn't see
Yes.
it, I didn't see it in there.
It's not on your list.
Originally, I was there when they gave it over to them, and they said there would be no hunting at all.
They are going to allow limited bow hunting.
I think
And
that would be good for the kids.
I think it has to
It'd
do
be
with the
great
fact
if they
that
would. I mean,
Yep.
it's always been
Yep.
there's
A
a
lot
hunt
of
club
deer.
right next to it, so.
3,000 acres is fairly significant size. I think they
Put
will
in
have
draws or
an
something.
area
They could
that they can do
that's a
this.
heck of a mud ride to
Yeah.
watch.
hey.
It is.
All right, my motion is to,
Second.
Motion by Steve, second by Brad, any discussion? All in favor say aye. Ayes have it.
I'm going to place this,
I'd like to look at that.
this pro forma document up here where you guys can look at it. This is their conceptual plan as it relates to all of the property, including the 100-acre area that you just approved the exemption on.
All right.
I want to close with this. I was grateful to be able to meet with the gentleman recently who's affiliated with this entity because the discussion led to some other things that might be beneficial to the county long term. While the details are still not finalized, this entity has access to and believes that it's going to acquire title and possession to additional properties that are upriver, up point source impact from us. And so I introduced this gentleman to our stormwater management plan that you guys have spent money on and have been working very diligently to try to develop. I just mentioned that in passing, and he immediately raised the prospect that there may be some things that can be done, even outside of Rankin County, that could eventually help us with our stormwater management. Some storage area, the potential for some upriver, upflow detention areas that could have a meaningful impact on our stormwater management proposals. And so I was excited about the possibility that we might have a friend who could accompany us to talk to our friends in DC at some point and make suggestions about how there can be a cooperative agreement among even public and private partners to address some of our stormwater challenges. He also mentioned, by the way, that this area that they acquire from DOT that is along the river has capacity for flood control. And that would not impede the ability that they have to develop that site for the purposes that they've already stated. In other words, we may be able to derive some benefit for our citizens out of the acreage that has been, in essence, unused for many years. And so I want those discussions to continue. I mention that solely because we have spent a lot of time talking about what we're going to try to do to get on top of stormwater management. And some things are starting to come together from places that I would not have otherwise expected, and I want you to be aware of that. Last thing I want to mention is that I see Trey Jones back there. He's been sitting back there patiently. We do have a need for executive, unfortunately, gentlemen, so I just get you ready for that. It's coming, and we've got several things we need to talk about in executive that are litigation related.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Foster?
Thank you. The first item I have this morning is approval of the amended FY20 budget.
Motion by Steve, second by Jared. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it.
The next item I have is approval of the 2020 certification from the Department of Revenue on our 1 mil levy and authority to transfer that money to general county.
So moved. Motion by Jared.
Second.
Second by Steve. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Ayes have it.
The next item I have is action on awarding our county insurance, as we've already had the discussion with Guy Warren and Paul Meganson, and this will be for the property, the auto, general liability, and our fire services.
Motion. Motion by Steve.
Second.
Second by Brad. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
All right, D is declaration of an emergency repair to the Cato Communications Tower and authority to expend the funds necessary to repair this damage. We will try to recoup this money off of our insurance as they believe it was a lightning strike.
Motion.
I make a motion.
Motion by Brad, second by Jared. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Next item is on the Rankin County Courthouse facility, and it's approval of pay application number 38 to Chris Albritton Construction in the amount of $476,676.96 and authority to issue that check.
This is what we were talking about earlier.
That is correct.
We needed to, motion.
Motion by Steve, second by Jared. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Ayes have it.
F is authority for Rankin County Election Commissioners to publish the notice to conduct an open test of the Verity scanner and the touch writer devices at the warehouse located at Marquette Road, and this will be October the 30th, beginning at 9 a.m. As it relates to the general election for November the 3rd.
Motion.
Motion.
Motion by
Second.
Steve, second by Brad. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
And I have one item to add. We finally got our first bill. It goes through approximately 7/12/20 from Trust Care on the COVID testing that we've had for various employees, and it's in the amount of $4,625.
All right.
And authority to issue that
Motion by
check.
Steve,
Second.
second by Brad. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
And that was to add, so now we need approval.
Motion by Steve, or second by Jared. All in favor say aye. Ayes have it.
I think we're gonna get an update on the shelter.
Add.
Whoa, he's got it now.
Sheriff of Yazoo County contacted our sheriff yesterday, and they've in dire need of a unmarked car, and we had one a drug seize, so I wanted to add it, and then we remove it from our inventory and transfer it to Yazoo County Sheriff's Department. It's a Mercedes that we seized from a drug fund.
So that goes off our insurance?
Probably, but that wasn't.
No, insurance goes with it.
I
Yeah,
don't think
everything
it's
goes
on them.
with
I don't
it.
think it's on them.
No, we transferred it.
Yeah. I
Mercedes.
vote to approve.
Oh,
Hey, that's pretty nice.
You gotta add it, right?
We don't run
Do
them
we
kind
need
of
to add
cars.
this to the agenda?
Yes.
All right, motion to add this to the agenda.
Motion by Jared, second by Brad, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
You don't drive Mercedes,
Now
man?
you gotta do the
Now,
motion
yeah.
for it.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion by Jared, second by Brad, any discussion?
What
All
color
in
is it?
Aye.
All ayes have it.
Chrome rims?
Mac, in your car, you
Uh,
drive the Mercedes,
Is that
don't
it?
you?
We do, I think the sheriff wanted to talk about the dog, situation.
Hey, Sheriff,
Brian.
you got any updates on the shelter?
Oh, yes, sir.
All right.
Back up with, come on. Come on up here, man, you been there with.
Y'all walking awful slow.
Been working. I guess like, Chris has really stepped up, and, I'm gonna let him do most of the talking. He's really stepped up, and he knows, he's the animal expert, especially with dogs in the kennel. And I know that, we don't have a price on everything, but, rehab or reform the horse barn into a adoption center, shelter, the concrete, is gonna cost us, what, $28,000? That's for Jim to finish the concrete, slope it, do a 4-inch, what is it, 4-inch? He said the biggest thing, you want a curb around outside where you don't wash anything outside the building. You want a 4-inch rise where the little office and adoption center thing's gonna be.
Where the water don't go inside.
Right.
Right, and then the, what do you call it, the drain? not
Yeah, the drain, the trenches.
Step on up to the.
Yeah, the trenches for it to be cleaned out.
Right.
If they're pre-sloped, which Chris says they are, then the price is $28,000. If Jim and them have to, slope the concrete and everything themselves, then it's gonna be more expensive on it. But y'all know Jim, I trust his judgment on the concrete more than anybody else. I think he-
Jim Goodman, Bill.
That's what he does, that's all he
That's all he
does, is
does.
foundations pretty much. So we got him to look at it, so that would, our plan is right now is to pour that slab, cover it up with a metal roof, insulate it real good and everything. But backing up, we're gonna build, add on to that little barn that's back there. make
What are we
that barn.
talking about?
This is on
now?
Marquette.
On
We're at
Marquette.
Marquette now, okay.
Yeah.
We're
So
back
you got the old building, you got the horse barn, and you got the little storage barn back in the back. So
Across
this
the
is-
creek.
Yeah, go across the ditch back there. So add on to it, make the horse barn back there, build the new pound and adopt the well, we used to call it well animal
the
and
adoption
adoption center. Build it, but after we build it, move all our animals out of the old one, slide them over, and then pretty much gut the other building. And I think that after talking to everybody, we just need to redo so we need to just redo the concrete and everything in it too.
I would think so, yeah.
And, so
Pretty
it's gonna,
much
it's gonna be a
started.
step-by-step process.
We'd
Build
have
a
to
horse
put sewer
barn
there.
first, build the new.
Sewer.
Sir?
Hey, well, how we
Yeah,
crossing the
we don't
ditch?
have a price on that yet, but yes, sir, that's tying into the sewer and everything.
How are we gonna get across the ditch? What's the
There's a
plan there?
Put a culvert in.
There's a
Culvert.
culvert, the road already goes back there.
Yeah, we need a culvert to handle it. How big a culvert is that?
Probably 6 or 8 foot. Hey, Mike Harrison, what size culvert we gotta do to have to cross the ditch behind the, shelter? 8 foot?
Big culvert. Big one.
And it's already there.
Yeah, the road's already there.
Guess that comes out of bridge too.
He said it's already in there.
The road's
already
already
there.
there.
Oh, we already got one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you said to add one.
It's there.
Oh, I thought
Sound like
we
a plan to me,
had put
boys.
one there.
When we need to get started?
But what's the total, I mean,
Yeah, we
roughly?
ain't got a bottom line figure yet, have we?
No, we just got, I mean, that's what, tell me about the
Yeah.
kennels.
So, yeah, so to redo the, adoption center, you know, we wanted to look nice for the citizens, but we're looking at about $46,000 for the kennel system setup.
That's for
Uh,
both buildings or just that
No,
one?
that's just for the adoption center.
Okay, I got you.
That was the
That's
ones.
The old building.
The new building.
The new
The
building.
new
That's the
building.
Okay.
Right, and then,
Now, explain to you, so 46 sounds like a lot, but this is gonna be the new little showcase area.
Right.
So tell me about how these kennels are made.
right, so they're made out of material which will, they're easy to keep clean, they won't hold odor, and we won't have as much problem with disease that we have in there, like parvo, things of that nature. Be much easier for the guys to keep up.
And it will look nice when people come in there and they wanna see a dog they adopt. We have to promote this the best we can to get these dogs adopted. So, when I looked around and talked to several people, this is what adoption centers are doing. And then we have, like the sheriff said, the older facility where we have our dogs that are in quarantine for biting people, what have you, or dogs that are sick with disease. We can keep them separated, so we're not constantly fighting with trying to keep the adoption dogs and spending money on keeping them clear of any disease.
How many kennels will that be out of that 46? How many will that create?
That'll create about 20 kennels in the back.
And that's more than enough than
That's
compared
more
to the average of what we're doing now.
Correct. That will be more.
Kennels, are these like the stainless steel cages, you open the door and it's 30
Right.
inches by 24, whatever, is that?
So these
or is it-
kennels will be, they have the walls are made out of material. The front is a clear glass, so that you can,
What size? Can you tell about what size?
yeah, so we're looking at,
4 by 5 or?
no, it was like, 4 by 7, I think is what we ended up getting quoted.
That's a big kennel.
Yeah,
And it's gonna be 27 of them or?
20, about 20 of them.
20.
I'll pass that up there too. Kind of what we're looking at.
Dang, I could put mine.
And we still gonna need some type of run for them, right?
Well, you talking about on the outside?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can build those, like you and I talked about with the pea gravel and that kind of stuff.
Okay. And that shouldn't be a big cost there.
No, that's not gonna be a big cost.
No, we're gonna spend a little bit, make this a little bit nicer than what
Yeah.
we do. Now tell me, what we're gonna do in the old one about redoing that?
So the old one, some of the issues we have, with the trenches, the drainage trenches, they're not sloped. So, feces is stays there, and it creates the problem of odor. So we have to, that's on the outside, and then that creates a problem of keeping that place warm in the winter and cool in the summer. You got all that, and then the airflow. You have no airflow because of those sides of it. So, my suggestion was, we need to redo that pad because it's been there so long and has got, it's, after time, you can't get rid of the smell. You can cover it, but
Can you
can't
just
really get rid of
recover it? I mean, what I'm saying, can you just go over the top of that one, does it need to be torn out?
Talking to Mr. Jim, he suggested probably tearing it out because it's just not conducive to what we need. I think we had a
That
building
means that
that we
whole
made
building's
work.
gonna come out.
We're just gonna demo the whole thing.
Well, I want to be able, we can save the truck, we can reuse the trusses and
Yeah.
everything,
Right.
make the same size building, or maybe just Ken and I were talking, make a little bit bigger to cover the outside trough,
Right.
but save the trusses and everything, and then put U-10 on top, and if we have to use the old 10.
Right.
We could use the old 10 on the horse barn or something, couldn't we?
Size or something like that. Because this will be for the stray dogs, the ones, we'll keep the pets and the adoption dogs at the end of this in a nice building, and the older building with the strays. But it'll still be nice too, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but we just have something, the public complaints they can't come in. Well, then we're gonna let them come in this building, but they still won't be able to go in that building, because during the day, the inmates and everything still be over there taking care of them. And then the times that the adoption center's open, there'll only be an employee in there.
I got you.
That sounds great, man.
So what is the figure on that one?
Just
Yeah, so without, like the sheriff said, I hadn't been able to get the plumbing, the air conditioning. But we're looking at about 125 to 130,000, including the slab, the building, the kennels, the drains, all that.
What size building is it again?
35 by 80, that what we come up with? 35 by 80.
Okay.
That's what I was talking about, doing it in phases, like 2 phases.
Oh, yeah.
Do this first building and then do the next building.
Good.
What we need to do to move forward? Get some, I guess,
Get some official quotes or something?
yeah, if we can keep it
We're gonna
below
run this by
$50,000,
Bridget, I think you're gonna
we
have to
won't
have-
to bid it out.
Keep
So
it what,
whatever
now, Joe?
phase,
What'd you
Well,
say?
that's what I said, this more or less we're remodeling.
we
remodel,
keep
John.
it, keep below 50,000,
Yeah.
we don't have to bid it out.
Yeah.
So
So the
whatever
first thing we
phase
do
we
is build a
do,
horse barn.
whatever phase we do, we just need to, that phase needs to be less than 50,000.
So I think the first thing we need to do is build a add-on to the
Yeah,
second horse.
Just do a little remodeling.
Across the creek over there.
right.
Yeah, and then once we do it, we can
transfer the
Trust
horses.
down
Yep.
and start
It's a good plan.
converting the current horse barn to tractor.
Sounds good. Thank y'all for your work.
Appreciate it.
Chris did all that. Chris McBroom.
McBroom.
Okay,
I
there's
give it
no
to
other
Chris, I
additional
ain't give it
business.
to McBroom.
Yeah, I got something.
Okay,
Greg, you gonna touch base on that,
Appreciate
nationwide
y'all.
deal?
I'm leaving. at
Thank you.
11:30.
Now you know. Now, if we vote for it,
I will. All right, I got something. Greg's a little familiar with it. Renee is also.
Hang on. Okay, let's,
He's
skip
late.
that. You can do that after executive session. I gotta leave at 11:30, okay? So, and I know I wanna be here to vote on our, something coming up, so.
All right, whatever you want, Jay.
Thank you. Well, I'm president still, so I get to make that rule.
Whatever you want.
hey, you
Whatever you
hey,
want.
Hey, you lifetime president.
You
Yeah,
can leave
negative.
now, yeah. You
All
know,
right.
it's not a big deal.
So, discuss the need going to executive session.
So
So move.
All right,
Second.
motion by, Daniel, second by Jared, discuss the need going to executive session. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Ayes have it. And it's for, and personnel.
And personnel.
All right, have a motion going to executive session?
Yep.
Motion by Daniel, second by Steve, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Ayes have it. All right.
Let's go.